Hello, guys. It is Shane Davis once again with Yanzi Lynn, and today is the day we are talking about comic creators justifying basically switching sexuality of established characters for the sake of not making new characters. So let's get into this. Now, at first, this just seems like a vague kind of statement, kind of an example, like a meme, but here we go.
So Tim Sheridan, who recently wrote the Teen Titans Academy, has this to say: comic fans, don't add stuff to established characters, just create new characters. So the creator creates new characters, and the comic fan goes, I don't know them, I don't want to, this is trash. And he puts the
Right.
upside down face, which is basically saying, oh well, can't win them all. I think at this point he's trying to say, all right, you guys, I cannot please you by changing a character. I can't please you by making a new character. What do you want me to do exactly? Well, so see, this tweet was very vague. So Tim had to come in and clarify. So he said, since some of you are misreading this to be about new characters, let me clarify. It's about evolving existing characters, especially when they come out of the closet. The point is that many fans will say, don't make him gay, create a new character, don't really want a new gay character. So, yikes. So, see, Tim is quite literally justifying that you have to make your characters come out of the closet to evolve them, to modernize them, to make them part of the new 2020s, I guess.
I don't know how I feel about that. That is a very bold statement and assumption in what evolution would be for a character. Chances are, if it's a character like, say, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, household name characters, people love, fans, people know these characters around the world. They probably don't need to actually evolve. They do need to progress in stories. That's different. Evolving a character in comics would be like taking what would be a dead IP, like, say, I don't know, Daredevil, right? And giving it to Frank Miller because the sales on it are horrible, and we need a type of take with this character, which Frank did. He made him more like dirty, gritty type of character. He introduced things like the Hand, Elektra. He took Kingpin, that was like kind of a joke Spider-Man bad guy, and made him into a crime lord. Things like that. Made it a little dark. That would be evolving that's an evolution of a comic book character evolving. Okay, I'm going to use the same example. Let's say Marvel's like, oh, nobody's buying Daredevil. It needs to evolve. And then I hand it to this writer, and he's like, you know what would evolve this character is if now Daredevil is he comes out of the closet and tells the world he's gay. That's not evolution. That's not developing a type of readership with the character at all. That's not making his action adventures anything more. It's not introducing new conflicts, new stakes, anything like that.
Let me read over here this tweet by Bizarro number 1 that says, I just think it's kind of weird how a character who they have never hinted at or alluded to being a homosexual, a guy who's known for being a ladies' man like Gambit, obviously that's an example, becomes gay, just seem out of left field, only happens to make headlines. Sounds kind of like John Kent. So I think he really hit the nail on the head when he says that that's what corporates after. They're trying to grab headlines right now in this age where news comes by in a flash. You have to make sure that people pay attention.
Well, so we live in clickbait like advertising right now. And the American comic book industry, in its desperate state, is actually going for clickbait advertisement. The problem with that is it can erode the intellectual property, or just damn well break it, depending on how fans receive it. I understand the allure of doing things like that. Guess who came out? Like, let's make the news, but does it turn into sales? Doesn't seem so. Obviously, DC Comics, especially DC Comics more so than Marvel, they have a mission to go forward with this. Evidently, this is a writer looking to be on the right side of editorial, kind of preaching this. There's something he does say about making new characters is you're not going to get instant gratification right away, okay? Like, meaning like you're going to have that hot new character right out the gate. You may have to invest some time, some creativity, come up with a character that is interesting and introducing it into the comic in an interesting way. Usually the easiest way to make new bad guys, and I've made bad guys myself at DC Comics, like the Red Lanterns, a lot of them, most of them except for Atrocitus, is to actually make them bad guys, because automatically They're related to and tethered to a household name protagonist. There is a conflict automatically. There's easy ways to do this. Making new heroes, obviously, you kind of need to do that in a team book. You again need to tether it to already established characters. This can be done. It was done successfully in the 90s with characters like Venom, Gambit, another good example. Bad guys like Omega Red. These things, X Force, you can Deadpool. Like again, you see, there is a system to do this. Is we're doing it at Marvel and DC a healthy place to do it? Probably not. I myself, brand new IP, raised closed out $303,000. This is a first issue, so obviously there is an interest for new characters. I actually think there's a big interest for new characters. So what else have we got with this?
Well, let's look to the father of the Titans themselves, Marv Wolfman. When I did Titans, my view was for every ODC character I used, I tried to create someone new. If you're using someone else's idea, you should pay it forward. I think, this post was liked by Tim, but Tim kind of misunderstood it. Marv was probably saying, yeah, you should use them, but make sure you create new stuff at the same time too. Don't just play in people's sandboxes and mess everything up. After all, you are a custodian for these characters, for these old characters.
There used to be this idea when you worked in the American comic book industry that you could take the toys, you could play with the toys, but you can't break the toys. You have to leave them there for somebody else to come along and be able to play with the same toys. Now, could you add to the toy box? Sure. But you don't break the already existing toys. It's kind of like a take a penny, leave a penny type mentality. This used to be just the practical idea for any comic book creator coming into Marvel and DC. Actually, editorial used to actually preach this. Today, it seems like they're damn well trying to break every toy in the toy box. And it's weird to try to make an old character into something it's not just for the excuse of it's new. It just doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense though, because this is how the author of this thread thinks. So he liked this post here. This post was liked by Tim. So that means, I guess it means he agrees. And this person here says, it might be a little arrogant on my part, but I don't trust fans to know what they want. I remember this passage in Alan Moore's Writing Comics in which he says that the writer doesn't give what the readers want, but what they need. So he kind of twisted Alan Moore's words as well. Alan Moore is kind of like saying, I'm coming from this place. I have this story to tell you. It may not be what you want, but it's something I think you need. Whereas he's like saying, well, I think you need the character to be this way, so I'm going to twist the character this way to fit it into my mold.
Yeah, so this is an interesting, I've heard this before working at DC Comics, and I've heard editors kind of say this. You do need to give fans to a point what they want. I would say probably 2 times out of 3, because you can't be predictable. That is why I would take 1 out of 3 times you can't give them what they want. With characters like Batman, it would just be Joker killing Robins every issue, and Batman versus Joker. Eventually, that'll become old. So you do have to kind of pivot away from fans. But if fans aren't getting what they want in the American comic book industry, they will go somewhere else. We're actually seeing this with manga sales thriving. I mean, and American comic book sales dwindling. That is partially you're 2 out of 3 times you're not giving fans what they want. Believe it or not a lot of people are asking for bisexual characters. That is a very small demographic. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't want bisexual characters. Actually, probably most comic fans don't really care about the sexuality of their characters. So that's like what's interesting about this whole loop we're in right now in the American comic book industry, that everything's so hyper focused about the sexuality of characters, that these were action adventure comics, and they weren't action adventure in the bedroom necessarily. It was supposed to be like, dare and do's, stopping bank robbers, interesting villains, and how do they battle them, things like that. It's a visual medium. Where we're at in the American comic book industry, and the fact that this is the conversation happening, like this is necessary, blows my mind. But
yeah,
what else we got?
I think the problem is that Tim just expects that when you create a new character, you get beloved straight away. And official otaku here pretty much settles the debate. Your problem is that you think you're entitled to positive reception. An original character is a step in the right direction, but that doesn't guarantee you success.
That's the beautiful thing about making new characters. is like if one doesn't work, you're able to make another one. That's the way it is. I created a lot, probably about 12 or 15 characters at DC in my time at DC, and not every one is a hit. You know, some die, some didn't, but some caught on, like Dexter caught on like the day after the book printed. Some it took years, like Bleeze, to really catch on and become a character everybody loves. So there is absolutely no guarantee that a new character will take off. But then that again, make another character. That's the beauty about making new characters is you can always create a new character.
Yeah, and let me tell you one thing. DC and Marvel, they will love you to the moon and back if you give them new characters every other week. So,
Yeah.
guys, don't be afraid to create new characters all the time for DC and Marvel. Okay, got it?
Yeah, yeah. Or make your own characters like we did with Inglorious Rex. I need to thank everybody. This campaign is closed. You cannot back this anymore. Fair warning was given. $303,000, 526, over 3,000 backers, brand new top to bottom characters, all in this campaign. We are wrapping this book up, hoping to go to print next month and in your mailbox. So stay tuned for any updates. If you're on the sign up list, you should be able to, we'll send out newsletters in the campaign, and follow us on social media, and we will catch you guys again with another video.